we talk a lot on Power Talk 1210 in general and on the Forrest Carr Show in particular about terrorism. A lot of us relate to it through the news, and that's totally understandable. But one really good way also to get people to understand the importance of terrorism and what's being done to fight it and all those kinds of things is a good fiction piece, because fiction sometimes can even be better than the news because you can get wrapped up in it emotionally and get wrapped up in a good story. And along those lines, I have an author on the phone. Carlos Viola lives in South Florida, and he has written a book about an elite group fighting terror called Black Lion. He joins us on the phone. Good evening, I guess it is.
Good evening, Forrest. I'm very glad to be in the show. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on. So tell me a little bit about your book. What's it about? What's it do? Give listeners an understanding of what they would be reading about if they were to get the book.
Okay, Black Lion is a fiction novel. It's a thriller. It tells the story of the main character is called Michael Harris, who is a U.S. Army major in the Special Forces that together with his group fight against terrorism all around the world. So it's a book that's packed with action and several small subplots, and the characters are quite interesting. Black Lion actually is the nickname that I gave to the main character because I wanted to represent him with his natural qualities, strengths, courage, leadership capabilities. And what you will find in the novel actually is four main things that I outline, mainly, as I told you before, action, suspense, a lot of action, different types of guns. Then there's a subplot with a love story, romance, and then there's a dichotomy between good and evil. I try to represent the good guys are very good, and the bad guys are really very, very bad. So it's the dichotomy between good and evil.
That's exactly what's
finally,
going on in the world
I wanted
today.
to make it also a tribute to all the men and women in uniform that are fighting every day against the freedom of the world. So it's a little, my humble tribute to those men that are fighting every day.
Yeah, we need more of that, and it's never more important right now. The terrorism thing has burst onto the scene in the last month and a half or so with these ISIS people. But tell me, I know all good authors do a lot of research for their novels. So tell me a little bit about the research you did to get your background information on the war on terrorism, and tell me, in the course of doing that, if you learned anything that surprised you.
Well, yes, I did a lot of research. I got inspired, I think, for the many, many books that I read. I mean, I like to read very, very much. As Thomas Jefferson said, I cannot live without books, and I read like one book every week, and I like authors like Brad Torr, Brad Taylor, even David Baldacci, James Patterson, who write similar novels. Of course, they are New York bestseller authors. But I got inspiration from there, and I also did a lot of research in the Internet. I traveled a lot around the world and got information from there. And also I have a background. I come from a background in technology. I worked for a company that we have in Argentina that is a satellite company, that's Geographic Information Systems and satellite. And I also come from a military family, actually. My father was in the Argentine military. I was in the military academy, and I have very many people of my family that were in the military. Actually, an uncle of mine was killed by the terrorists in 1974 together with his 3-year-old child.
Oh, man, I'm sorry to hear that.
So I would say that all that helped me to try to write about this, and I try to do the book that's enjoyable, but it's also, as I told you before, a gathering of all these situations.
Yeah. Did you find anything in your research that you didn't know or that surprised you to find out?
Well, I'm already 60, and not many things surprise me, but although I still am surprised of what evil can do in the world, and the recent things that we've been seeing about this new group now, it really surprised me, what we see in the videos and all that, and even when I'm doing research about the different terrorist organizations, I'm surprised of how many of them there are, of how many organizations that are doing bad things there are everywhere in the world. No, so I really, I don't know if the word is surprised, but I'm really astonished about the events that are happening every day.
Yeah, you know, evil doesn't surprise me. I guess the depth of evil to these ISIS people has been a little shocking. But what surprises me more are commentators and people who write opinion pieces who say, you know what, there's really no such thing as evil. You just need to understand the ISIS group, and then we can deal with them better if we just understand them. And to me, there's no point in trying to understand mad dogs. Just my personal experience.
Yeah,
tell me.
I definitely agree. Definitely agree. There's no way to deal with terrorism but with force. No, it's not good to say it, and I know that many people don't like that, but unfortunately, what the world is, and we have to be prepared to fight it with better force than they have, and they have a lot right now.
Yeah, they certainly do. Now, your book is getting good reviews, and that's got to feel really good as an author. Kirkus Reviews called it an impressive action thriller propelled by well-developed characters. Hollywood Book Review says in his debut novel, Viola grabs the reader's attention from the very start, and by drawing attention to terrorism, a familiar issue that is of great concern in the world today. One of the reasons I wanted to do this interview. And a review on Amazon.com says, once you start, you can't quit. That's got to feel really good. Carlos, one of the reasons I like to do author reviews is that I'm an indie author myself, and I've published a couple of things. So I'm always interested to hear from other authors about the process. Tell me a little bit about having decided to write this thing, and now you've got a completed manuscript. How did you go about getting published? For all of us, for all the other authors out there who are thinking, you know, I might want to do something like this someday.
Yeah, I know you're an author of a couple books, and congratulations about that. And as you know, it's not easy. It's not an easy process. And since this was, I had written a lot of things in my previous life, what I call my previous life at the company, but I never had written a novel. And after my research, I saw that it was a very long and difficult process to get it published by a traditional public publisher. So what I did, I created a company, a publishing house, and published it myself with this company. So now I'm in the process of marketing and selling it, which is very difficult also. I heard one author that sometimes said that writing the novel is only 40%. Selling it is about 60% of the process, and it's probably more. So
I would totally agree with that. As someone who's going down that same road. As someone who's going down that exact same road, I would totally agree with that. It's people don't even realize it when they set out on this road that marketing is such a huge part of the game. But I can tell you that is so true. So far, I haven't let it stop me, though. I'm writing a third one now, so we'll see what happens. But I want to congratulate you on your publication, and especially the great reviews. Because I don't know about you, but you know, when I sat down to write, you know, you really don't know if you're any good at it or not. You have belief in yourself. And you have self-confidence, and you think you can do it. But until those reviews start to come in and you start to hear from readers, you just don't really know, and you've gotten some good reviews. So I would say that, man, you're off to a great start. So I wish you the best of luck. Any last comments you'd like to say before we close out the interview?
No, I thank you very much, and I wanted to say that, as they say, to be complete in life, one has to have a child, plant a tree, and write a book. And I have done all three, but I think, as they also say, that's the easy part. The difficult task is to raise a child, water the plant, and get people to read the book.
So true. All right. Well, I'm doing my part at least, and here's hoping some people will pick up a copy. I assume Amazon.com would be a good place to go get it for starters. Is that be correct?
Correct. That's right, correct. It's also available in Barnes & Noble and as an ebook in iTunes and as Nook and Amazon also, of course, Kindle.
All right. Carlos, thank you for joining us. Wish you the best of luck with your future endeavors.
Thank you very much for having me, Forrest.